Hello everyone, welcome once again to Bloodbowl Live presents Monday Night Roundup. Your weekly look at all of the Blood Bowl games that we had in the last week, how everyone got on, what happened, what does everything look like now after a week's worth of Blood Bowl. We will be going through all of the games that have been played this week and we will be seeing what's going on. We're getting close to the end of the group stage now. We've got a few more qualifiers, we've got a few more eliminations, we've got a lot more touchdowns, so we are here to go through them all. Um, I spent the last hour taking my PC apart and putting it back together. I'm stood surrounded by utter mess in my kitchen. I'm completely disorganized and I've had to turn it off and on again multiple times to sort it out. So, expect teething problems. But let's dive straight in and just pretend like everything is fine. And we're going to start this week with Schondheit, I think I said that right, group. Where we had three games, all involving the Aardvarks, Halflings, even Aardvarks and Halflings. Getting there. All involving Aardvarks and Halflings this week to get their games in to make up for the Halfling team that dropped out of this group. And mixed fortunes, really. Halflings not really giving us much in the way of a challenge in that group, but throwing some curveballs at the coaches in order to make this group challenging and make it so the games that they get in were enjoyable ones. They started the week against the Technos Hotspews in a game that finished 2-0 to the Hotspews, and anyone who knows Scott will know he likes a 2-0 win. It's kind of the way he rolls. I've not known him to win many games that haven't been won 2-0. But it was a game that wasn't as simple as it looked. Both touchdowns came near the end of the game for this particular case. And the reason that it was slightly more challenging was inducement-wise for the Halflings. They had two mercenaries, both with stab and multiple blocks. So that is a potential of 4 stabs a turn going straight in at that armor and not even bothering with the block dice. So throwing a curveball there, and speaking to Scott during and after the game, it did change the way that he played. He did have to focus more on stopping them because they were such a big threat. You know, you leave one player accidentally or 2 players accidentally in range, and that is possibly 2, easier casualties. So it did give Scott a little bit something else to think of in this particular fixture. Looking at sort of what else happened here, Cindy also taken multiple bribes taken to keep people on the pitch. Tree Man gets a completion very early on, and these halflings have been doing that this season, trying to get one-turn touchdowns, throwing those halflings, and they had quite a lot of success this week with them as well. But the casualties started to come. Started to take these reliable ringers off the pitch, and as you can see, gets that touchdown near the end of the first half. Second half, Cindy is sent off. And again, there's not a lot on tour play here, but there was a lot of keeping at bay, keeping the halflings at bay. As well, you had Cindy had some success really with the bomb throwing. Did have some success in the game. Forgot on a couple of occasions that could have thrown it twice, but did make things difficult. So it was a 2-1 win for the Nurgle team, which I don't think surprises anyone really. It guaranteed Scott's qualification, so well done to Scott joining those people in the last 16 and winning every single game in his group. Really, really impressive there. Halflings then moved on to the Blackhawks in what was a much, much tighter game, and I think there were multiple points in this game where it could have gone either way. Halflings looked very good to get a touchdown in the first half, but the Bruisers, Sam did really, really well here at slowing them down, stopping them getting anywhere. Halflings took both Griff and Acorn, and Sam just did a great job at keeping Griff at bay. Griff had very little influence on this game, and even was surfed at one point. He kept Griff off the pitch for most of the game. Griff did very little. Acorn did more. Looking at how the game went, First half was very tight, just the one casualty in it there. Halfling chucking a foul in. Second half was very tight as well, just one casualty for the tree men. We've got a few fouls coming in, and it came down to the last turn. And Sam managed to just have the right players in the right positions. The halflings failed. Halflings on the last turn could have scored themselves, could have chucked that halfling down the pitch, but failed to do that. The Sam really well came in, got the ball, turned 16 and manages to get that win, which was so crucial for him. He needed that win in the season in order to hopefully, he's got a chance now. He's got an uphill battle, but he does have a chance to possibly get his way out of this group. So well done to Sam. Great result. Really hard fought victory there. And the last game for the Halflings this week was against the delightful Dirty Golden Browns. Another high-scoring, eventful game that this one was. This was great fun, and the tone was set very early on with straight away turn one turn touchdown. The way that halflings can do it: throw the tree throws the halfling down. Some dodges, some sprinting, everything that the halflings needed to do all came off to go in very early on in the lead. Exactly what you want them to do. Rats aren't going to be kept down though. Turn 3, Rats equalise. Straight away we've got a 1-1 and we've got a very tight game. Tree starts to get a little bit more involved there. We had a stabby, reliable ringer in the mix. We had a bona fide big guy in the mix as well. So we had a lot of kind of extras there to give the halflings a bit of strength, a little bit more power. Tree Man gets another completion. The Tree Man did really well in this game. Lots of successfully thrown halflings. Ratover gets a casualty in there. There was lots of action in this one. And turn 8, it's 2-1 to the Rats, getting that touchdown right at the very end. So really, really well done there. And the Rats then started really well in the second half. Got in 2-turn touchdown the way Rats can with a 3-1 lead. Halflings though, another completion, another thrown halfling, another halfling running down and getting it 3-2. It was very tight. It was very back and forth. If you look at this half, turn 10 touchdown. Had turn 11 we had a touchdown for the halflings. Turn 12 a touchdown for the Rats. It was so tight, and there was even chance near the end there that there could have been another touchdown. There could have been a late touchdown to make it 4-3. It was really, really tight. Scott played really well with his Rats. He did really, really well. Did what Rats do best. And there was very little the halflings could do, but they did get a few casualties in there. Bonafide big guy did get some good punches in. But Scott takes home the points there. Really well deserved. Takes home the 5 points, which this group's very, very tight between Scott and between Sam as to who's going to get that second place. We can actually have a look at the group now, and all of these groups are going to be on the wrong group, so I'm going to have to scroll for each one. There it is. As you can see, Scott is Technosots user way in the lead. They've won this group nice and comfortably, and it is now down to Sam and Scott to see who's going to finish second. Sam does have a bit of an uphill. He's going to need to get a good result against those Rats in order to turn this around, but it is possible. Their next game is going to be really, really key. It's going to be a great one to see what happens there. So good luck to both of them to see who gets through. And a good result in that game, and then a good final result for Scott. We could even get a third place coming out of this. It's tight. Sam needs 6 points to be in the contention for that third, but we'll see how they get on. Moving on to Carve, and what was a really, really key game in this group between the Iceborne Raiders and the Greystone Gladiators. It was very, very key because a win for John would seal his place at the top of this group, and a win for Justin would have sealed both of their qualifications because John had already qualified and it would have ruled out anyone else to challenge. And it was a very, very tight game. It was a very close game. These two know each other well. They've played each other multiple times. They know how each other works. Very sunny on the weather, which would have made things a bit trickier for everyone. And straight away we get in there and we start to get some really key. It was a really tight kind of mosh pit for most of the game. And what Tourplay won't tell you here is that John John knows what he did, let's be honest. John had the ball in a position to score on turn 8 and go into the second half in the lead, and instead he chose to try and surf one of the key players for the Greystone Gladiators, and in doing so he rolled double skulls and went in at the break level. And he went into the break level with the Elves receiving in the second half, and it's the second time this season that a coach has done it, and it's been two experienced coaches that have chosen not to go for the touchdown, to do something first, and it hasn't paid off. And fortunately for John, he fought really hard in that second half, and he managed to get the win right near the very end. Second half is where we got a lot more casualties, completions coming in left, right, and centre. Lots of casualties coming in for the Norse team, and a turn 16 touchdown to seal that win. It was a very close game, and I think in the last couple of turns, either coach could have taken a 1-0 win. I think it's probably possibly even a draw would have been a fairer result here for both coaches. So well done to Justin, who put up a great fight in this one and very nearly won it at the depth. And John seals his first place in this group, so now Justin's game against Jane will be really, really key to see who comes second. We can have a look at the group now. Once again, I will have to scroll. There it is. Iceborne Raiders qualified at the top there. Greystone Gladiators just need to avoid defeat against the Animals, and that will seal their spot as well. And victories elsewhere this week, unfortunately, have ruled out Andy. Well done, Andy. He's lost 5 games out of 6 so far. He's got 1 game left, but he's been such a great addition to the league this year. He's played so well. He's done really well and had some really tight games. Yeah, it's a great start. So unfortunate that he's out now. Jane will have to do as much as she can in her 2 last games to see if she can stop Justin taking that second place. Moving on to Rainer, just 1 game in Rainer this week, and it was the Graveyard Brawlers versus Flumps, in a game that I think the Goblin team, from what I hear, will maybe feel a little bit like they could have won this one. And a few unfortunate dice rolls that went against them got the Graveyard Brawlers in the mix. But it certainly kept this group open. There was a point earlier in the season where this group looked like the Graveyard Brawlers and Reptile Dysfunction were going to run away with it. And that's not happened. It's been much tighter than that. So having a look here, we've got 2 bribes, Bomber and Fungus, coming in for the Goblins. You wouldn't expect anything else. And the Goblins get a touchdown on turn 5. They start quickly. But the Graveyard Brawlers come back and equalise with that Werewolf, that skilled up Werewolf, really good asset to the team, comes in and levels it before the half is over. And second half, again, Goblins start strong. Turn 13, managed to get a touchdown. And a very, very quick turnaround. I don't know whether there's something mismatched in the timer here or whether it is just a very quick response. But either way, Graveyard Brawlers were not going to be kept down. Tom was not going to let this one slide and manages to get the equaliser there. And it's only at that point that we start to get some sendings off. Bomber sent off, Looney sent off, Bomber Dribble start sent off as well. Lots of players sent off there, so that will have hindered the Goblins for the last few turns. But the Goblins putting up a fight. Stunty teams often you can kind of look at them as maybe being the fall guys in the group, but he is not letting this get him down. He is not letting anyone rest on their laurels here. And if we have a little look, scrolling down to the group at the bottom there, it is looking close. Graveyard Brawlers have only got 1 game left. Flumps have got 2 games to possibly get up there and challenge. David's got 2 games. He's looking a bit comfortable at the top there. 3 games for the Dwarfs. This group could still go anyway. There is no guarantees in this group. I mean, David could still finish 4th, and he's up there on 14. So this is going to be a really key one to watch when the next few fixtures come in. A couple of weeks and all their fixtures will be done, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the outcome is. Moving on, we're flying through this week. We've got a lot of games to get through, and I'm maybe standing up in a tip of a kitchen is probably making me go through this quicker. I should do this more often. My wife won't agree. Looking at Thrash as well, and this was a really, really, really key battle this week. This was such an eventful game, and it's a game that, again, could have finished with either team as the winner. And so unfortunate for Phil, who made such a good start in this game and was so close to getting the winner near the very end. A win for Phil in this one would have stopped, stopped guaranteed qualification for anyone in the group. He could have gone on. A win for Kevin has meant that both Kevin and David are guaranteed to qualify out of this group. And this one was just I was a bit glued to this one on Tour Play, to be honest. One extra team reroll came in. I think they had 4 team rerolls, including leader on the evolutionaries for this game. Turn 2, touchdown. Turn 5, touchdown. It's a great start. It's an amazing, imposing start. To be 2-0 up after 5 turns is fantastic. Really, really impressive. And giving the Imperials everything to do in this one. And you've got to give Kevin so much credit here, because it can be so difficult when you go two down so early to pick yourself up and bring it back. But he ground at it. Turn 6, casualty. Turn 7, completion. Turn 9, casualty, badly hurting the lineman. And the touchdown comes in turn 9, so early in that second half. Completion, turn 10. A casualty comes the way of the evolutionaries, but then he starts fouling, turn 14, and gets a touchdown on turn 14 to level it 2-2. And when you're playing against elves, you know they can score in 2 touchdowns. You know that's perfect. That's what they can do. They're such a pacey team. And Phil was so close to doing it. Turn 15 gets the completion, and he just left that catcher on the sideline. And I've spoken to him about it, and the way up was leaving the catcher on the sideline, giving the Imperials a 1 dice block with a rush, or leaving it 1 space in and giving the Imperials 2 dice. And unfortunately, the dice roll was a push. The dice roll was exactly what Kevin needed. Surfed and badly injured the catcher. Ball is thrown towards roughly the halfway line, and a completion and a touchdown on turn 16 seals the win. It could have gone either way. Hard luck to Phil. He fought so hard in this one. He's had a really, really good record this season for his first season, so well done to him. And credit to Kevin. Didn't give up in this game. Has stormed this group quite nicely. And we can have a look at the table. We're gonna need to do some scrolling. There it is. And look, that win sealed his and David's place in the last 16. Well done to him. Great performance this season. 4 wins out of 6 in his first season here. It's really, really good. He should be so chuffed with that. Scale Marys they've only got 1 game left against the Evolutionaries. Evolutionaries need a win, need a good win, a high scoring win, in order to try and see if they can get one of the third place places. But David will be looking to see if he can get top of the group, because that will make his draw easier. So 1 more fixture in this group, and it's going to be a key one. Over to Heldman. They did a double bill of games. Boneyard Blitzers had 2 games back-to-back over on Saturday. First game was against the Angry Aardvarkians. James, coming off the back of a loss against Dwarves, hoping to see if he could... excuse me. Hoping to see if he could recover... Apologies. See if he could recover from that defeat against the Dwarves. And recover he did with another great performance. Considering Tom came into this season having never won a game of Blood Bowl, he has really thrown things up and made things difficult for everyone in this group. He has not been a walkover at all. Had a few, had a stabbing stunty superstar, had Scrapper as well for inducements. And James started the way he likes to. Harry Slowno's fouling on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and sent off on turn 3. Otherwise, you know he would have done more. There is a great battle between the brothers, James and Robert, to see who's going to get the most fouls. I'm going to be honest, James. I think Robert's going to beat you to it, but we'll see. Swansea Pat gets a completion. James does really well. Scores on turn 8 of this one, going into the half 1-0 up. Second half, the fouls come from the other side. Foul sent off. Casualty for the Rat Ogre to Armor Buster Blitzer. Do you keep them in the team, or do you try and replace them? I don't know. 1 more game left against Elves. And a Blitzer with an armor value bust. Elves, maybe you keep them in the team. Casualty for the blocker there, badly hurt the Rat Ogre, but not taking him out for his last game. And Goblin gets a touchdown on turn 16. James taking a 2-0 win there, which he'll be very happy with, getting back to winning ways. 4 points he would have taken from that game to help him at the top of the group. And Boneyard Blitzers then went in against the Dwarf team, a very well played Dwarf team. Elliot's done really, really well with this team in this league and in tournaments, and Tom managed to get a result, and you've got to say well done, because these dwarfs are in good hands and Elliot knows what he's doing. Looking at the way that the game went, Fungus the Loon comes in for the Boneyard Blitzers. They get a casualty early on to reduce the dwarf numbers and get a touchdown on turn 6. Dwarves in the second half managed to get a touchdown about halfway through turn 12. Turn 13, such a quick turnaround to get a touchdown. Again, I don't know whether Tor plays correct here or whether he just managed to get a 2-turn in, but really well done to respond so quickly with that Orc team, and then hang on for victory. And that is a big victory in this group. That is a really, really key result for Tom. Looking at the table, which we're gonna have to scroll to, there it is. Looking at the table, James top on 16, but Mitch can top that. Elliot can top that. James could still finish third if results don't go his way. Numpties have 12. They've only got 1 game left. The top 3 all only have 1 game left, which means there are going to have to be big point swings against the Elves. The Elves are going to need to... This group could be bizarre. I think the likelihood is the top 2 that we see at the moment are probably the top 2. I think James is probably safe, but he's not mathematically safe. It's all down to Mitch now. See what Mitch manages to do with his 3 games. See if he can manage to break up the party that they're having at the top there. But well done. This group has been so entertaining to watch. They've had some really close games, some really hard-fought games, and some really great performances from all coaches. So well done, everyone in Heldman. Your group looked terrifying to start with, and you have not disappointed. So absolutely well done. And we're on to the last group of the week, which is Reyes. It's my group, and I think the previous group, Heldman, was a group of death from the point of view of you had a lot of very, very strong coaches and teams in there. I'm going to put the argument out there that Reyes was a group of death because you had Robert in his mansion of bones and blood at the top, and then you had such a tight fight for second place here. Going into these games, myself, Simon, or Andy could have all finished in that second place slot, depending on how results went. It was that tight. It could have gone either way. Simon starts the day in second place, goes into his game against Robert, which was always going to be a tough one. But any points that he scored here would have helped him reduce the likelihood of being knocked off that spot. And it was a good start. Simon started well in this game. The weather was blizzard, which is immediately going to make it difficult. He took a stabbing stunty superstar. He took a bid guy. He took another stunty superstar. He took a bribe as well to counteract the secret weapon that comes with the stab. And starts to get some casualties. Badly hurt on turn 1, one of the Norse linemen. You know, if he can get 3 casualties, it's a point. It's great. Gets a completion, gets some SPP, fouls, does get a clan rat who misses the next game, but he takes the lead on turn 3. Now, I know Simon took the lead earlier than he wanted to. He wanted to reduce the amount of time that Robert had to come back him, but he had to score because scoring was better than not scoring. He lost the superstar at that point. Changing weather puts the weather back to being nice, which gets rid of that blizzard. And then Robert starts to do his thing. Casualty, badly hurt. Casualty, missed next game. Casualty, badly hurt. Fouls coming in. Simon did not have many players left on the pitch by the end of the half. Foul, gets a completion. Foul, gets a completion. Foul, gets a completion. Casualty, badly hurt the... superstar there, gets a touchdown on turn 8 to go in at 1-1. Robert almost cleared the pitch, and the second half was a massive, massive uphill battle for Simon, and Robert was in his element. Foul, foul, foul. I told you, James, he's coming for it. I don't think you're going to stop him. Foul, 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 sent off, foul. Missed next game for the Skaven thrower. A touchdown on turn 12. There was a point where Robert could have sat there because there were no players left to challenge him, and he could have just waited for turn 16 and taken the 2-1 win. He wanted the third touchdown and he went for it. The big guy gets a casualty and knocks the passing ability of the lineman. Robert's probably not going to mind about that too much. Robert continues to get fouls in, gets another player sent off, and the Valkyrie, pretty much unopposed, gets a turn 16 touchdown. Simon fought so hard in this game. He probably deserved a point, and he just missed out on the casualty he needed to take one. So the next game in this group, 3 points are needed from the Vinzig versus Icebaren, and 3 points will get them their points. So that's a win or a high cash, high scoring draw, and that's what we got in this game. It started the way that it does. The Bear Elves stabbed a couple of linemen, immediately taking them out, down to 9 players from the off. Blitzer comes in and kills one of the linemen dead, trading blows from the very start. And the Rats get a touchdown on turn 5, thanks to some slightly sort of fortunate blocks and some unfortunate rolls from Andy. Andy had some awful dice in this game. Really do feel for him because he played really, really well, but he had some key rolls that didn't go his way. Another blitzer killing one of the runners, which is a key blow to those elves, and gets the touchdown on turn 8 to take a 2-0 lead. Now, at this point, you may think the Rats are looking comfortable, but very early from the start in the second half, a touchdown comes in because the kickoff event is a blitz. The blitz immediately causes issues, and the elves get onto the ball, collect it, run it in, and straight away they are level at 2-1. And the Rats luckily can score in 2 turns, very quickly come back, taking the 3-1 win, scoring a 2. Now, at this point, that is 1 bonus point. And the Rats need either a win or they need 3 touchdowns, 3 casualties, and a draw. So, when after the Rat dies, when the Elves get the 3-2 level, 2 turns left, and the Rats need 1 casualty in order to successfully get through if the Elves score. This could have been 3-3. This could have been 2 points for me. This could have been 3-3, and this could have been only 2 casualties. And Timmy Snuggles gets his 3rd casualty of the day, takes down the lineman, and suddenly the pressure's off. That's the 3 points. If the Elves equalise here, then it's still 3 points, and that's qualification. Elves did really well, and they just got unlucky when a blitz on the gutter runner that had the ball caused the ball to bounce onto the person that did the blitz who caught it, which took away the chance to hand off or pass or anything like that. So unfortunate for Andy, because anywhere else that ball would have landed, he would have swooped up and he'd have taken a draw from this instead of the win, instead of the loss. But it was a decisive game. It was a really decisive game. And looking at the group, which once again we have to scrolling down. There it is. Looking at the group, Robert just stormed it. He's got 1 game left against Andy, and he'll be looking to get 6 wins from 6. And look how tight it was below there. The win and the bonus points got me the qualification, and even I'm in his group and I wanted to see Simon qualify. It's his best season so far. 2 wins, 12 touchdowns. This group as a whole, 46 touchdowns in this group compared to I think the next highest is about 27. That's an insane number of touchdowns in this group alone. So well done to all of us. Well done to Simon. Well done to Andy. Well done to Robert. It's been such a great group to be part of. And I have all of my fingers crossed that Simon is going to get one of the wild card spaces. So looking at all the tables in general, we've gone through them all, so we won't spend too much time on this. But as you can see, Riotous Rams, still some games to play in that group. JD, 12 points, currently taking one of the wildcard spots. And if we scroll down, Simon on 11 is currently taking the other one. So it is going to be very close. It's going to be very, very tight to see who gets that extra spot there. We've got some qualifiers, so... Riotous Rams, Tipsy Tankards, Iceborne Raiders, Technos Hospitals, Ipswich Imperials, Scale Marys, and the Ice Baron qualifying for the last 16 so far. Well done to Kevin and David for qualifying in their first A&D season. Really, really good result for them. We've got last year's 4 semi-finalists all through, and former champion John through as well. So it is a tough-looking last 16 at the minute. And sadly, we do have 4 teams who are out now. Kittens for Tea, Blitz Brigade, Arvats and Halflings, Fog Force, all mathematically eliminated, all having played such great games this season, having done really, really well, and sadly out now. But remember, Harrison, Andy, Nick, King of the Streets is a thing, and you could enter. You are now all eligible. You can get some street games in and get yourself at the top there. So still lots to play for. That is it. We're done. We've gone through, and we're only just over half an hour. That's not too bad. That gives me more time to sort out the mess that I've caused for myself. Thank you, everyone who has watched. Thank you, anyone who has popped in. It's great to have people watching. It's really good. This will be available on YouTube shortly. It'll be available on Twitch shortly as well if you need to watch it. One main week left of fixtures. We are extending it by a week, so the 24th is the cutoff now. So get your games in. You've got about 2 weeks then left to get all of your games in, and there are some really key deciders that are going to be coming up. So thank you for watching. Keep watching all the Blood Bowl, and we will see you next time.